In this week's brand new episode of Hill Climb Monsters in Project Cars 2, it's challenge accepted as the Ferrari 488 challenge takes on our Azure Coast Hill Climb course. Can this near 700 brake horsepower Italian stallion spring a few surprises? Let's go find out. What's going on, guys? My name is Bettinio and welcome back to Project Cars 2 and a brand new episode of Hill Climb Monsters. And this week's challenger, as you can see on screen, is the Ferrari 488 challenge. It was released a few days ago via the 5.0 bug fix patch update, whatever you want to call it, and it's a free DLC car. And hopefully this will be the start of more free DLC cars down the line. I'm not sure whether they just released this as a one-off, but hopefully, if you remember the first game, they did have free DLC cars for every paid DLC that came out. So hopefully this is going to start something new, a new batch of free DLC cars that'll be coming to the game. I can't say yes or no with regards to that, but hopefully it does, and we get some more of this. But yeah, the reason I decided to go for it, it's a new car. I wanted to give it a go. It's a tricky car to drive, so it's a challenge. Kind of, you know, clues in the name there. So yeah, that's this is this week's car, and that's why I decided to do it. Take a look at some of the stats. As you can see, it's produced in 2017, so a very, very new car. It has a turbocharged V8 engine, which is producing 670 brake horsepower. That's a lot. 0 to 60 comes up in about 3.6 seconds, and it will go all the way to 193 miles an hour. It also features, obviously, rear-wheel drive. It has a 7-speed sequential flappy paddle gearbox, and it also has ABS and traction control, which, if you watch that Nordschleifer video, you wouldn't think it has traction control, because the arse was all over the shop. That was such a hard run. I can't tell you how difficult it was, and this is probably going to be more difficult because it doesn't like the bumps. But there's the car, there's the stats. In terms of the practice and the setup, the majority of the time that you're going to spend in setting this car up is going to be at the rear. And I said it in the Nordschleifer video that I just don't think the rear is set up very well, but I don't think it's entirely that, the problems at the rear of the car and the loose feeling you get from it. I think a good portion of it could be the fact that it's turbocharged, it has a lot of power, and even with that traction control, it's still a little bit squirmy on corner exit, especially a bumpy corner exit or a corner exit that's maybe still curved a little bit where you've got to turn to it. So yeah, I spent a good amount of time playing with the differential, trying to calm it down a little bit, playing with the suspension, the dampers, tyre pressures as well, the rear downforce. You know, you don't want to go too high on the downforce because it can affect the front end, but you don't want to go too low that it's just going to be all over the place through the slow and the fast speed corners. So yeah, a very challenging car to set up. I think, to the best of my abilities, I think for myself personally and my driving style, I think I sort of found the sweetest spot I could. It's not perfect. I think there are other people out there who could probably set this car up a lot better than I can, but for me, and to get a run in and to feel confident in the car and getting on the power without being hesitant and so on, or being, you know, a little bit reluctant into the braking zones, I've got it exactly where I wanted it. I mean, the practice itself, fairly straightforward. Getting runs completed was a difficult one. This thing does like to have an accident. And like I said, it is a bit of a difficult car to drive, so apologies if you're getting noise in the background. There's like a dog and what sounds like a horn. Well, I don't know. Yeah, like I said, some of the runs were, you know, okay, but there were a few accidents here and there, as you would imagine with me and this course. The Magic Roundabout featured prominently. Just got down to the braking zone. The back just went light for the split second, and I tried to catch it, but then it's already caught itself, so it just kind of turned me off into a bollard. And then I've hit another load of bollards, and that's pretty much the run over. Also, this one here is the first corner. It just, like I said, it's understeery through the faster speed corners, so it just understeered off, and I clanged the barrier, and then I got out of shape on the exit. So that was that one there. And also, as I've also sort of mentioned, it doesn't like the bumps. It doesn't like you know, acceleration zones where it's on a curve either. So coming into Ice Cream Cove, just got a little bit out of shape. It's always been bumpy through there, and it's just makes it even more difficult with this car, not liking the bumps, especially at the rear. And I just, you know, I lose the back end, try collect it, and it just pirouettes around and, you know, backs itself into a wall. But yeah, so What we're going to do now is we're going to take a look and see how the Ferrari 488 or F70 challenge has got on. But before we do, let's just remind ourselves with regards to the league table what's going on there. So the Jaguar is still very much top of the table. I don't think this is going to beat the Jaguar. I don't. It's too difficult to drive. But I don't know. What should it be aiming for? I mean, there's nothing really from its sort of general classification, you know, like the GT cars. I mean, there's a Ferrari F50, but we know that's going to be faster because that has a big whopping V12, if I can remember correctly. The only other cars that are sort of its era, you've got the Honda 2 and 4 concept, which isn't the same kind of car in terms of the class. You've got a TCR Astra, you've got a GT86 from last week. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what this should be aiming for in terms of times. I mean, maybe in terms of being turbocharged, there's those two Porsches there in third and fourth. So maybe it should be aiming around there, maybe the Lotus or the BMW. But yeah, so there we go. What we're going to do now, though, is we're going to head down to the track and we're going to see how the Ferrari 488 Challenge got on our Azure Coast Hill Climb course. So let's do it. Okay then, guys, here we go. Ferrari 488 Challenge on our Azure Coast Hill Climb course. And as we come down to the first corner, I had a few problems through here. It's a long corner and a relatively quick corner, so you do have to be a bit cautious because this thing can understeer. And through the centre S, you see we don't quite get it exactly how we want it, and we're having to really soar on the wheel a little bit just to kind of get the car into position. Coming down into cruise line corner now, pretty good through here. Through the slower stuff, the front end is very, very good. It's just as you saw there, the back end can get a little bit out of shape on you if you may be a little bit too eager on the gas pedal. But as we come down Python Run now towards the Magic Roundabout, it's going to take it at an absolutely horrific rate of knots, nearly 115 miles an hour over the bump. Just takes it in stride and off we go again. But now we come down to stickman squats, a little bit of a brake lock towards the inside left there. And again, you just saw there we're having to adjust. It puts us a little bit out of shape coming onto the happy highway, but we just about get through it. Now it's time to have a bit of a breather, just get yourself calmed down. Like we've seen, it's a very involved early part of the run itself, in this car especially. So chance to just kind of, you know, calm yourself down, a little lift there at the front end, and also just figure out this next corner, traffic cone corner, because it's a very fast corner and this car tends to understeer through the faster stuff. So I had to scrub off a bit more speed than I wanted to, and on a couple of occasions I was coming down into 6th gear as well, but you can do it in 7th if you want to. Coming down towards Stonewall now. Again, understeer is not a massive problem here because it kind of leans into the corner a little bit. There's a bit of camber to it, so you can just get it, you know, in the groove and it will help you around. Coming down towards understeer now. This wasn't really a problem. Understeer wasn't the problem. It was oversteer on the X. You see just a little flick to the left-hand side just to get it straightened up. And into Ice Cream Cove now, and again you see there just getting the rear just out of shape. It's like I said, it's so bumpy here, it doesn't seem it, but it can really unsettle a car like this, especially one that has a bit of a wild rear end, and especially through here, this you know, it's an acceleration zone on a corner, so it can cause problems for you in this car, and also other turbocharged cars as well. But you know, at this point it's not too bad. Like I said, I got it to where I got it to the best position I could. You could probably get it better, perhaps, but as we come through James May corner, Captain Slow corner, again, that was another one. Because it's turbocharged, you've got to try and keep your foot in it, but at the same time, if you do, you could easily drop it on the exit, the first part of that. So you have to kind of let it roll down, and it will bog down, and the turbo will start to lag as well. So not as quick as I could be through there. You see, we're going to get a little bit wide here through Silver Spoon Village, coming down towards McDanger Curve, and I had trouble down this sort of area onto Outrun because it was very responsive there, but then through here it just understeers. So it can be a bit Jekyll and Hyde at times, but it takes an incredible amount of speed through here, and Fraggle Rock corner as well. We were, I don't know, maybe on the seat of our pants a little bit through there. I was really on the ragged edge. If I'd have pushed it anymore, I probably would have been off the course. But now as we come down towards Bridge Corner, and I was a little bit, you know, a little bit unsure with this one, whether to take it in 4th or 3rd. If I took it in 3rd, then it was a lot more responsive through the corner, obviously, but we weren't going as fast, and 4th, it just felt a little bit hard to get around. So it's one of those corners in this car in particular where it just kind of sits in the middle and you're not quite sure which way to go, and it could be just down one run you're doing 4th, one run you're doing 3rd. The other surprising thing from this car that I saw as we come onto the Mongo-McRae complex is from my run around the Nordschleife, especially coming up the hill and to the fast right-hander at the Nordschleife, the nose went like just pitched right up. So I was expecting the worst from this thing. We saw a little bit of it down the Happy Highway, but through the bumps and crests here, it pretty much just flew straight and true basically. So that was a pleasant surprise. I'm not sure if that comes down towards the the wing angles that I had there compared to here, or the kind of speed, or what. I imagine speed plays a little bit of a part in it, but yeah, I was pleasantly surprised with how it performed through here. Again, a little bit of a opposite turning there just to get it straightened up and onto the pogo stick straight. And at this point, in terms of the time, we are doing quite well. I'm not going to reveal the times yet. You'll find out at the end. Just come through this left-hander, get your inside wheel on the grass. It'll help you bring the car around, and then get on the power tentatively through there, admittedly, because of the rear end problems that we've mentioned numerous times. But as we come now down towards the back end of sector number 2, and again, just a bit of understeer there. It's just so understeery through the faster stuff, and it was wary down here coming down the hill onto the Great Ocean Highway. It was just it needs more adjustability at the front end. I don't know if the actual car just has 2 clicks, 2 possible options with regards to how much how much the splitter can be adjusted, but it could really do with a bit more. So Ferrari, get on it. But as we come down towards the tunnel onto the viaduct straight again, you can just see it's just have to get out of it a little bit too much there because it was understeering off. And I did my best to dial it out, as I said, but I think we might be on the limit now. I think it might just be a naturally understeery car through the faster stuff. What it just lacks downforce, as we said, the front splitter isn't as adjustable as I would like. Coming through Deception, first time in a few episodes where I almost get caught out. It's just that front, the mid, the higher mid-end and high-speed corners really does trip this thing up from time to time. And you see here, not where I wanted the car exactly. We're down into 4th. As soon as the speed car is coming down, the nose starts coming back to us a little bit, but through the faster speed, as I said, it's just you need more adjustability in the front splitter. I think that's the only thing. I don't think suspension or anything's going to do it. I think you just need to have a splitter that's more adjustable. But as we come down onto Rocky Road now, and again, I came into this area again wary because cars with understeer do tend to get tripped up around here. I blew 2 very good runs through here at the same corner as this one coming up here through this little rock tunnel. I just got on the power a little bit too early. It just dragged me out to that barrier, and then you just kind of stuck into it. But as we come down to the last corner, get it down to 4th gear and then back on the power again, just you see me sawing at the wheel to get it settled down. As we come across the line, it's going to be a time of 6 minutes 47.760, which I think that's a pretty good time. I mean, looking at our particular leaderboard, it actually splits the Porsches and goes into the top 5, 4th place. So it was never catching the 917, I don't think. But equally so, it was a good 7 seconds faster than the 935. So I think that's a pretty impressive time from the 488. In saying that, though, I do think that the GT3 or the GTE car would go faster because I believe both of those cars are lighter, and while they're less powerful, more power and weight I don't think is effective as less power and less weight, if that makes sense. You saw how well the 2 and 4 concept did. That thing weighed basically nothing, and that was a very, very quick car around here. So yeah, it gets 4th on our leaderboard. Unfortunately, though, as you can see, it doesn't get a time on the actual SMS leaderboards because, again, the stupid way they've done this, the Ferrari 488 falls into the same category as the Ferrari F50, which is currently still sitting in 5th on the actual leaderboard. You can't see it because we're looking on page number 2, but had the 488 got a time on the leaderboard, it would be sitting a very firm 16th place there. And when you look at the company it has, there's a RS01 and there's everything else. There's a GT1 car. You've got CLK LMs, you've got a couple of McLaren F1 Longtails, we've got an Audi RMS, oh, we've got a GT3 car at the bottom as well. So yeah, I think that's a pretty impressive time from the Ferrari there. But yeah, that's the end of today's video, guys. So thank you everybody so much for watching. If you did enjoy this and you would like to see more Project Cars 2, Hill Climb Monsters, or you know, just general racing content from myself, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Also, if you have suggestions of cars you would like to see in this series, make sure you leave a comment down below. Don't be afraid. If I do like your suggestion, then maybe your car will get featured. Your car and comment will get featured in a future episode. But again, guys, thank you everybody so much for watching. Stay cool, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace!